Hi, I wanted to make a quick tip video over results review. So here I am on my test patient and I'm on the results review tab from the menu. By default, it's going to show you quick view. I do want to point out that you can change this flow sheet to several other flow sheets from nursing. So when they document on their interactive view, which is the flow sheet, that flows to different pages here in results review. But again, by default, it's going to say quick view. You can change that as needed. What I wanted to show you is how to change this date range. By default, it's set to a 48-hour clinical window. If you right-click on this gray band, you can change search criteria. If you do it from here, it's only going to change it for this patient, this view. As I have done, I've changed it from the clinical range by default to admit date to current, and I even went as far as to say, show me 24 hours prior to admit, so I can capture things that happen in the ED and say OK. So that is how I set it here. If I wanted to say use this time frame for every patient, then I would go up here to Options, drop down to Properties, and then I have defaults here. If I click on that defaults, the window looks very similar to the first one. I can again address my preferred retrieval type by default, so I'm going to stick with my admit date to current. I'm going to say show me 24 hours prior to admit if you want to capture what happens in the ED, and then say reapply to each new chart. That's very key in order for this to actually stay with your login and reapply to each new chart. Say save. It's going to ask if you're sure. Say yes, and then OK. Now, if you went this way first and didn't change it here, you're going to say, wait a minute, that didn't work because my date range didn't change. You need to get off the patient's chart and back on in order for that to refresh. So don't worry. If you've gone through the options workflow to set your date range, it will change when you refresh the patient's chart. Now you want to do that for each tab. So if I wanted, in my example here, I've changed instead of the 48-hour clinical range to a certain results count. If I do it one time, I right-click on that gray bar, change search criteria, or I could go up to Options, Properties, Defaults, and change the results count. And then that aspect of this window becomes changeable. So let's just say 100. Reapply to each new chart, save, yes, I'm sure, and OK. Now again, since I have not refreshed this chart, it's going to still reflect the 75 results, which is what I had prior to making that change. When I get off the chart and back on, so let's do that here quickly. And I'm going to jump down to Results Review. Lost my cursor there for a minute, but let's do Results Review. And then I'm going to click on Vitals. And now it's been updated to show me the last 100. You may have to change, even though we changed recent results to show me pre-admit to current, that was on Quick View. If I go to All Results, it's going to stay with that same selected range. All Activity, however, is going to be defaulted back to that 48-hour window. So just be cognizant of that. All Activity, hopefully we don't have a year's worth of activity like I do for my patient here. I also wanted to show you that you can change this from the table view, which is the default, to a group view if that is preferred. Or the list view, which gives the reference range after the result. That's my tip for the day. Thanks.